Warning: the content you are about to see is my opinion on certain topics. I do not want to offend anyone in any way. If you feel offended or do not like what I say, you should turn off the video. I will have no filter, so I'm warning you now. Viewer discretion is advised. I hope you enjoy. All right, I'm recording. All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Big Rob, aka Rob the Poet, and we're back with another episode of the Open Your Mind podcast. This is the podcast where I talk about topics from my point of view. And remember, you may not like what I have to say, but just listen with an open mind before you make your judgment. I have brought back two ladies that was on the podcast before. I have Sierra and I have Savannah. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Good.
Y'all have a good Halloween and everything like that?
Yeah, it was chill. I stayed in.
Same here.
Cool. I didn't. I went out for the first time in ever for Halloween and had to dress up. And, I don't dress up like that. But in order to go to the party, I had to dress up. So I did a little something, but I'm a little tired. you know me, I'm an old man. So, but today we're going to talk about a big topic. It's kind of controversial sometimes, depending on who you talk to. But we're going to be talking about the aspect of cheating. What is cheating? Who cheats the most? And is it okay to cheat? Is it not okay? And just, your experiences with cheating. Sierra, what's cheating in kind of your words?
Honestly, like anything that you wouldn't want your partner doing, like obviously the like flirting and everything above that, but like if it's something that you would be upset with your partner doing, then that's like a no-go.
Name an example of like something like you wouldn't want your partner to do.
Let's say they're out and about and they're just like playfully like entertaining another person. Like that's kind of like you're disrespecting me or disrespecting your partner.
Okay, I got a question about that afterwards. But Savannah, what is your kind of definition of cheating?
Um, I think cheating has levels, but I think the biggest thing is you doing something that, like, you actually entertaining someone else, whether that's physically or emotionally. I think that's cheating. It's like anything you're doing outside of your partner that has some type of like energy tied to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's cheating to me.
Okay. Now, Sierra, you said earlier, like going out with somebody entertaining. So you consider like, say your boyfriend was going out with a female, like they are, friends, but like you consider that cheating? Like you wouldn't want them to hang out with that person, or like explain that
No,
to
I
me.
mean, or they can hang out, but if it's like, they're being like a little too friendly with each other, then that's a little like, no.
Do you agree with Savannah where there's different levels of cheating, like physical, emotional, different stuff like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
So
not just like the obvious like being with someone else kind of thing. It's definitely like you can be intimate with another person emotionally, and that's not okay either if you do have a partner.
and definitely, no, I think I hit it on the nail. I would same thing. There's definitely different levels of cheating. Emotional, physical, and I think they're all the ways are they have their different ways of being bad. I don't think cheating is good at all. There are some people who will argue, which we'll get into in a minute. But let me ask you this: is there one way worse as far as cheating? Like, is physical cheating worse than emotional, or is emotional cheating worse than physical, or is cheating cheating? Sierra, I'll go with you first.
Ooh, I feel like cheating's cheating. Like, I feel like no, I feel like it's an extra sting if like you go ahead and actually do something physically with the person. Like
Okay.
that's just taking entirely to a new level. Like there's definitely no crossing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no
Well,
uncrossing.
no, uncrossing. I got you. I got you. What about you, Savannah?
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I personally think emotional cheating is more damaging than physical cheating. And this is why I say that. Because I feel like a person can cheat one night and be done. There's nothing there. It was like a one night stand. It's a one and done. It's over. But once you've cheated emotionally, you've literally brought someone else into your heart, your mind, and it's kind of like push that other person to the side a little bit. I feel like for me, that's gonna hurt me more than you just doing whatever you did for that time being,
Mm-hmm.
because now you built some type of like emotional connection with somebody else, and that's a little damaging. Like I'd be like, you kind of you in a whole other relationship over here because you now you're feeling some type of way about somebody else, whereas originally it was just me. So now there's someone else here. You got new feelings, and it's like so now anytime you try to like go back to your partner, you've got this other person that's also in your head. So there's those emotional ties that I feel like are a little bit deeper than that physical. Because like I said, you can do that and be done. It doesn't mean that much.
So I'm kind of glad you said that because that was going to be a point that I was about to bring up. So this is not me necessarily personally, but I know a lot of guys who would say that emotional cheating is definitely worse than like physical cheating because so I'm gonna put in the aspect of that I heard it from a guy. So when a guy cheats, it's normally just like it's right there in front of us, which is kind of bad, but it's kind of like, oh, it's a new toy. Let me see what it's about. That don't mean we like the girl. That don't mean nothing. It's just kind of like, most guys are kind of superficial. So, we see something we like, we're gonna go after it. That don't mean to them, that don't mean that they're necessarily cheating. They just kind of made a mistake. Now, I will put this too, that they said that women actually like women more so are known for the emotional cheating to where they may not be doing anything physical with a guy, but they could like Savannah said, they could be in a whole nother relationship, and once their heart and their time and emotions are with somebody else, that original person pretty much lost out on it because they basically gave up on the situation. I think if they were to they physically cheat, it's just like you said, wham bam, it's over with. Yes, it's bad that they cheated, but there's more. More relationships can overcome the physical cheating than the emotional cheating. Which brings me to my next point, Sierra Savannah. So let me ask you this: so if somebody was emotionally cheating with somebody, they haven't done anything physical, and you knew that, and they were basically not necessarily in another relationship, but they were emotionally invested. Is that more of a deal breaker than if somebody were to cheat one time, one night, and then like, it was a mistake or whatever? I love you and whatever it is. Savannah, you first.
Okay, so if somebody were to cheat once you're at that like
Yeah.
emotional invested stage,
Is the emotional a deal breaker or is the physical a deal breaker, or either way is cheating? Like, which one would you forgive more, your significant other, if they were emotionally cheating or if they were physically cheating?
honestly, y'all, I think I dealt with both at the same time in a situation. So for me, it became like a cheating is cheating kind of thing. Like I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I think cheating is cheating, and like I think once you've done that, I know I'm done for it. I'm out of there. Like I don't have time to do this because once you've done it the first time, it kind of it repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's honestly, you learned your mistake the first time. But in a lot of cases, that's not what happens. And even if it's not, you don't do it again with me, you might do it again with somebody else. So I don't know. I think it's got to depend on what is that person's willpower, because there's some people that have that mentality going to stick around. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just you're like, oh, okay, you said you apologize, whatever. We can move on from it. Me personally, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. You apologize, whatever. You can learn your mistake on your time, but I will not be here to see it through.
Gotcha. Sierra.
So I have personally not been cheated on, but I have cheated on someone else
You
in the
know,
past, like in high school. And it is horrible. You feel like shit, and that, like, that doesn't, that you did what you did,
hmm
kind of thing. Like, and it destroyed the person I was with. And I
definitely.
was like, if, I think if you're able to go and do that again after feeling the way like you did after you cheated, like if you have that kind of like what the fuck did I just do kind of thing, like for me it was in the moment, and it was as soon as it was done, it was like that was not, that was definitely not something I should have done, and I've just imploded the relationship that I've had with this other
Mm,
person who trusts me. And if you can continue to do that, if you don't feel any remorse for that, or if you like kind of, if it's not at that level that you can, like Savannah was saying, that you can learn from that mistake,
hmm
then yeah, you're nothing's gonna come out of that. So I mean, it's really, that's why I was saying kind of like the physical, because in my experience, like once it was physical, it was done. Like it was, there was no saving it whatsoever. But I do understand where, like you were saying, Savannah, that it's like emotionally, that's like, that is definitely a big issue to deal with. But it's like, yeah, there's no, cheating is cheating. And like if you don't feel apologetic, if you don't feel that guilt that like eats inside of you, and you don't want to like better yourself so you don't put someone else in that situation, then it's like you shouldn't be in relationships kind
You
of
know,
thing.
definitely, definitely. And both of y'all brought up some good points. And me personally, like, I don't condone cheating because I have been cheated on. And it started out emotionally, which kind of made it worse because you can feel that person kind of getting distant and distant. And then, by the time, y'all talk about it, and by the time you try to reconcile things, she's already physically, or emotionally connected to somebody else. And I feel like, once you lost that emotional connection, it's already gone. Because the physical, like I said, I understand what you're saying, Sierra. Once it gets physical, it can be. But to most people, what I've heard is that the physical is kind of just like in the heat of the moment kind of thing. And so that can, most people would, I've done some research like a long time ago, and most people can forgive somebody for cheating on them physically, like one time or something like that. And but once they get to that emotion, because they're basically like giving a relationship is supposed to be, one person's heart with another person's heart. Once they give their heart, emotions and stuff like that to somebody else, they're already gone.
Yeah.
And so you already told me, Sierra. My next question was going to be: Have y'all cheated? Have y'all been cheated on, or been the person to cheat? You've already answered that, Sierra. What about you, Savannah? I know you say you've dealt with being cheated on. Have you ever cheated personally?
I have never cheated ever in my life. I, I can't do it. I couldn't even do it. I can't even get myself to even think about it. I'm definitely not the cheating kind of person. I don't understand how people do that. I struggle dealing with like, you get those emotions in a relationship. I'm like, if I'm struggling with this, how do you think I'm gonna deal with two people? It's like talking stages when you talk. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't even do this. How do you think I'm gonna cheat?
So
So no, definitely not.
so I do have a follow up question. I'm gonna ask you first, Sierra. So since both of y'all are opposites, since you've been the person to cheat on somebody, you kind of explained it a little bit, but what was going through your head, and then um, as far as like the person you cheated, the person you cheated on, how did they feel like once they found out that you cheated? But first, start with like just like your mentality when you cheated. First of all, what what drove you to cheat, if I may ask that?
Yeah. So basically, the relationship I was in, it was in high school,
Yeah, of
and we
course,
don't
yeah.
have the best relationships in high
Mm-mm.
school. But I mean, it was kind of like we liked each other a lot, and we had fun. We had like we got along well and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But I think the person I was with like didn't know how to really appreciate another person, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not an excuse for what I did. I think that's what like really like made it really apparent, because the person I cheated with gave me all the attention in the world. Like hyped me up every single time I saw him, like was just like it made me eventually think like, the person I'm with, like, dang, it started getting me to compare them,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And then like maybe I deserve someone who's going to like really like realize like how amazing I am, as opposed to this person who's like, now we're starting to bicker and fight, and we're not seeing eye to eye. And so yeah, that's what led to me cheating on my partner at the time.
So real quick, sorry to interrupt. So the new person gave you more attention than your current significant other.
Hmm.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. But yeah,
And
continue.
yeah, so that new person ended up being an emotional attachment. And then eventually that led to the physical. And so, yeah. And then once that happened, it was like, I was like, this was not what I wanted. But I continued, like, just letting little things, like, happen. Like, oh, it's innocent. Like, it's fine. Like, he's
Mm-hmm.
just being really nice and stuff like that. When really it was like, you're lying to yourself. This guy wants to be with you. And you're letting him think that that's possible when you have the person that you could, like, it may not be going well at this point, and you need to talk about it and see if there's something that you can salvage, or you need to end it because
Mm-hmm.
there's no like there's no good that comes out of trying to entertain two people.
Gotcha. And did you continue it on for a while, or like once you realized like, hey, what am I doing? You went back to your significant other, or was it like already too gone for your significant other? Did you kind of just break it off with him?
So it was really odd, honestly, because so when I told him about like the emotional attachment, and that, well, basically what happened is he had kissed me, it was like I could see the hurt in my like boyfriend at the time's eyes, and it was like, God, I can't like ever do this to him or someone else ever again. And I just felt the guilt and everything, and it was kind of like he forgave me, and we talked through it, and it was kind of like, you kind of have to, he's like, I want you to distance yourself from this guy, because it's like he's like, I don't want you talking to him, like I can't trust you with him, so that needs to be. And that's like a hard thing in high school, because you're with everyone
Mm-hmm.
all the time. But I mean, it was very hard, and eventually that relationship like crumbled for
Gotcha.
like further on. The guy was like a grade above, so he graduated, so we did end up like separating.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like every now and then he would like DM me or something, be like, hey, how are you doing? And it's like, I still wanted to be appreciated like he did. And the
Mm-hmm.
relationship I was in, it wasn't the same. And
Yeah.
so eventually, like, that led to that relationship ending, and then trying to see what was with that guy and realizing he was kind of psycho.
Mm-hmm.
So ended that, and then carried on with the rest of my life. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it was a whole mess, whole entire mess. Like, it's not, I do not agree at all. Like, it was horrible. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And I'm like, I
Nah.
consider that part like like I've talked to this about with some of my friends, and they're like, well, you were a kid, you didn't know like all this stuff. And I was like, I know not to hurt people. I know.
I think at that time, no, you're good. I think at that time though, like they said, you in high school. I don't think a lot of people really understand fully about a relationship in high school. So I think, I'm, let's say, like, I don't condone it, but still, like, I still think those mistakes needed to be made so you won't ever do it again. But, it's a high school, like, you don't really understand everything that you're going through. You just know that you have a boyfriend, somebody else was giving you attention, you like them. I think it was simple as that as far as high school. Now, if this was like now, you're old enough. There's definitely, you've been, you definitely been through some stuff. So, but so unlike you, me and Savannah actually have been cheated on, and just for me, the feeling was it's kind of hurtful because especially with me, actually, they tell you never get in a relationship with people you work with. And so I was probably like 20, 21, and I was working, and I was actually dating somebody that I was working with. And, that job was just a little bit different as far as like, it was real gossipy and stuff like that. So, the slightest thing, it goes around the store. And so, I just hear one day, she's hanging out with somebody else at the store. And then, I'm kind of find out they've been doing it for a while. And, it was a bad feeling of somebody not necessarily, emotionally invested in me anymore, and somebody else. I'm like, damn, well, I put in the time and the work and stuff like that. Me personally, I didn't do nothing wrong. It's just somebody was new and fresh, and that as I'm not saying that's what she's saying, but that in my mind, I'm like, well, they might be, newer, so she want to see how that goes, and so it was just a bad feeling. But you, Savannah, how did it feel when you got cheated on? Like, what was going through your head, and how did the situation end?
Honestly, so I think for me, the reason my breakup ended was so bad, or the way I found out really upset me more. Not so much about the cheating part, kind of because I think I could already knew, but I couldn't pinpoint it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in that, which really frustrates me because y'all know me and I figure things out like this, and I couldn't figure that out. And so I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'm tripping. You know what? I'll just leave it alone. Well, I found out, honestly, through social media. The other girl commented on a post, and things just went downhill from there. Mm-hmm. But for me, I think I was kind of just a little like not really hurt about the like, oh, you cheated on me kind of thing. Like, I was more so upset about when I found out because I was studying for LSAT. My birthday was in 3 weeks. I was like, really? Like, you couldn't have just like waited a little bit, like, let me get through what I had to do. I think so. I was a little frustrated about that part, but I mean, it was kind of like one of those, like, I knew I needed to like walk away from the situation, but I couldn't really figure out how to do it because when I had tried in the past, it kind of didn't really work. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking for that like push. So it kind of just pushed me over the edge. I mean, I ended up meeting the girl because she asked to meet me. So I met her at the place, and then I met the guy at his house, and she just wanted to ask a bunch of questions about like our relationship, and like I was like, girl, we've been together for like ever, like I'm just whatever. So I let her answer her questions. I mean, y'all, it was a mess. It was a really big mess. It was probably one of them things that should have ended up on like a reality TV show kind of thing. I'm not crazy, so I wasn't busting doors down or nothing like that. I didn't do anything.
I see you doing something like that.
I was honestly like, the girl wanted to like talk, like all three of us or whatever. He wouldn't let her in by herself. I was like, well, I have push here because I've been here, and he don't do this. Mm-hmm. There's just certain things you just know. So I was like, you just don't have to walk in with me. So I brought her in. I mean, there was a show. I mean, there was an audience outside, y'all. People really thought I was going to set this house on fire, like all these things. We were just like, why are you not doing anything? But y'all, I was just really upset because I had just bought him new shoes that were in my trunk when I got there. So I was just sitting here like, I just paid resale on shoes that is sitting in my trunk. I was just like, you just stupid, right? Because I was like, our anniversary was in a few weeks too. So I was like, there's all this stuff sitting here. This is where you messed up. I'm mad that I wasted the money, but I'm also mad because you could have at least waited to get your stuff. I'd have did that. I'd have waited through the holidays. If it was me, I would have been like, I'm going to wait till the holidays is over. And then I'm going to let, my dirt hit the fan. But he didn't do that. He couldn't wait. But she also could not. So I was like, whatever. But, I mean, I don't know. I think I was relieved. But at the same time, I was just frustrated that everything happened when it happened. Because I had so much going on at the time that I was like, I don't even know how to break this to my family or like anybody to tell them that I can't take my tests or like I can't do anything because my mind is just boggled with all this mess. And I'm just like, so I was struggling. Like I hid it from my family, I think, until after my test. My mom called me and was like, something's wrong with you. Y'all, I was crying on my birthday. My mom FaceTimed me. I was just upset. Like, it was so hard to hide that for like almost a month. And just like being at home every weekend. I mean, I'm still going to the games and everything. So I was just like, what do I do? Like,
was this the time you was working with us?
No, I was after I graduated.
Oh, this is not what you call it.
Yeah, I was back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was back.
Okay.
No, I mean, I hid everything, I mean, as well as I thought I could. But, my mom knew me and knew that I was, like, struggling. But, y'all, I was just hurt because I was like, you can't just wait. just wait. But
entire life right now.
Yeah. So, I have a question, Savannah. So, were you said it, but I just want to make sure I'm trying to be clear. Mm-hmm. Was it worse that because of the timing of everything, that's what made it worse, or was like so if you wasn't having doing a test or wasn't doing a lot of stuff and he cheated on you, do you think the situation would be a little bit different, or do you think your emotions would be different, or like was it just the timing that kind of was like, man, like this sucks. Like I'm dealing with a lot of stuff and you want to do this, if he wasn't.
I mean, honestly, it was really the timing for me. Because after the fact, like after I was able to like really sit and reflect, I really realized that like it's been the best thing that could have happened. So like I have no bad blood. Like I'm just like, I'm really happy that it happened. So like I was able to walk away from the situation and just be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't like distraught or like depressed. I mean, I went through that, that little breakup period thing everybody does naturally, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I want my relationship back kind of thing. Like it was like, no, okay, like I'm good. But it really hurt me because it was that time. Like, and I was like, and he knew how important that time was to me. And it was just kind of crazy because it was like, how do you have somebody go from one day, they're all like, hey, are you studying? Are you good? Do you need a study break? Like, what do you need so that we can keep you up, make sure that you're doing good? And then 3 days later, I'm like, what? What? Like, it was like that. And then that, I tried to walk away from the situation on the day that I found out, like, I'm not even going to deal with this. Let me just walk away. And it was like, no, don't walk away, because it was that whole apology. Oh my God, I'm gonna do better, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, bro, I don't even do cheating. Like, I'm just so done. But it was that, but I'm gonna do whatever. And I'm like, okay, you do what you gotta do. I just need you to like behave long enough, like stay off of social media long enough for me to get through my test, and then I can break the news. Because I was like, if I do this right now, it's just gonna it's gonna throw me off more than I'm already thrown off. So, I mean, I was okay with walking away from it, which is what I told him previously. Like, I'm that kind of person. I feel like if you really feel like you need to go do whatever you have to do. And our relationship wasn't on, there was something missing in our relationship, which was always crazy to me. Because I was like, well, when people are like, well, why would you cheat? Well, if you look at the situation that he was in, he was in that last year right before, you know, you might have something big happen in your life and you feel everybody's like, no, you need to go do this, you need to go do that. It was that whole peer pressure thing where you need to just do this, it's your last year kind of thing. Not I'm missing this in my relationship, or I'm just like, it wasn't that. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, okay, so you just felt like you needed to, okay, whatever, you know, do what you got to do. But yeah, no, it was really the timing that really threw me off because I lost so much just in those like last like 3 weeks. That was just like, it really broke me down. But you know, I bounced back
Mm-hmm.
and I've done a lot better. I mean, I bought a new car before we broke up, got rid of the car, y'all got another car. So
Okay.
it was a lot of things that like I got a new job, like my life kind of just like really changed after
Mm-hmm.
that. So I was actually, the breakup was like the best thing ever. So I was like, I'm happy he
Love
cheated.
it when that
I'm
happens.
good.
I do. I do too. I like that, you know, it didn't like emotionally like break you, like you just not thinking about it every day. Like some people, like they cannot get over a breakup, and you know, you handle it very well. And I'm the type person, like, I'm, you know, y'all know me, I'm a very chill person, so I'm not gonna say
Mhm.
like I don't care if somebody cheats on me, but like I'm the type of person, like, you cheat on me, cool, I'm not gonna get mad. Like, you know, things happen, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm a type of person. You cheat on me once, it's over. Like, I don't
Yeah.
give like chances after chances and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But let me ask both of y'all. So since Sierra, you've cheated on somebody. I hate saying it like that, but you cheated on somebody, and Savannah, you've been cheated on. So Sierra, you cheating on somebody, how does that affect your relationship going forward? Like, are you always going to like, or I know you're not going to cheat again, but like, are you going to be like kind of skeptical of your significant other? Like, you're going to try to look for those signs that made you cheat, or like, is it going to affect your relationships going forward, like in a big way?
So it's actually the complete opposite. I am more untrustworthy of myself than I am of other people.
Mm.
I have like a really like accepting, it sounds like I'm bragging, but like my heart's big and I want to see the good in like everyone.
No, it definitely is big.
Stop. And so I don't, my past two relationships, or the one I was in previously and the one I'm in right now, they've both experienced being cheated on. And I've both been upfront with them, been like, I've cheated on, I've been the cheater. Um, and I don't want to do that to you. I was like, I will, and communication is basically like, it's even bigger now in the relationship that I'm in order so that we can be honest with each other when things aren't going well. Because I've realized in so many relationships previously that it's because we're not talking to each other. We're not being honest about how we feel. Like, you did this, or I felt this way when you said this or did this, and vice versa. And it's just like, once you stop telling that person how you feel, then it's like, how do you expect the relationship to get better? And that's a big thing that or how do you expect it to have the possibility to get better? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I realized like very early on, after high school, was that like, I was like, shit, we're not gonna get anywhere if you don't talk to me.
Mhm.
Definitely.
And so I was like, and I don't want to put myself in that situation where I'm going to hurt you, because there's been temptation. There's always temptation. There's always that one person, or that person you meet like one night where it's like, oh my god, like, you're awesome, you're great, I'm not getting what the specific thing in my relationship that you're giving me right now. Or like, you start fantasizing about that and everything. And Javon knows that I'm flirty sometimes and I need to work on that. Um, so, and I mean, we just have like a really big foundation on communication. And I think that's why the relationship I'm in now is so strong,
mm-hmm.
because we talk about everything. And so that's like, that's where I'm going with that. I love how I answer the question and then I'm like, wait, was that an answer.
No, it was definitely no. It was a good answer. I really liked it a lot. Savannah, same kind of question for you. So since you have been cheated on, like, is this going to affect your future relationships? Like, you always going to have that the thing in the back of your head, like, I wonder if they're always cheating on me, or are you gonna go into every relationship like open, like, they're just you're not even worried about the cheating until it happens?
So I do try to like look at every relationship as itself. Like I try not to compare what I've been through in the past to um, what I'm dealing with now. I have stayed away from relationships since then, um, but mostly just because I will say my trust was heavily affected a
Mm-hmm.
lot in my last relationship, and so it's real slight. Just my trust in just people in general. I'm like, you sound a little iffy, but I try not to like, be like, okay, well, I've been here, so like you move this way, and well, I know somebody else that also moved this way, so that means you're doing this. I try not to make assumptions because I believe that assumptions lead to confusion, and confusion is conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to do that. I try to see every situation for what it is. But I will say, like, when I do get to the point of being in another relationship, I will pay more attention. I will look at certain signs, but I don't think I'm gonna be like super triggered by it. It's kind of hard to say that there's not something that'll happen that'll make you think like, oh, could this be happening kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll always, definitely be in the back of my head. But I don't know. I really feel like I want to try to do things like start fresh when I do get to that point. Because I think where I messed up the last time too was I kind of jumped into the relationship and I didn't really even actually want to be in a relationship. It was like no, I really think you should kind of do it. And then it ended up being like a situational thing and it kind of just turned into that. But I didn't really want to be in one in the first place. I just kind of jumped the gun. So I know for sure, like, this time around, I've been very like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wait. And if I'm not ready, I'm not ready. You are upset about that, then so be it. That just means that we're not supposed to be together, whatever. So now, I don't know. I mean, I think there might be little triggers. It will take me a minute to be able to be like back at 100% and put all my trust into someone. I don't think I'll ever do that again. I'm just being completely honest. I don't think I will ever. But I do kind of want to let people just be yourself. I'll see the relationship for what it is. I'm not going to call you out on cheating if you're not cheating. I mean, but what's done in the dark will come to the light. So there's nothing I feel like I really have to do. I'm going to find out anyways. Yeah. And the way I try to find things out anyways, I'm going to just find things out anyways. I'll just be better this time around at like paying attention to what's going on, which is why I've been so heavily focused on like getting me where I need to go, because I don't want to go into another relationship while I'm still trying to get into the next chapter of my life and I start losing sight of what's going on over here because I'm trying to pay attention to you. So nah, I don't know. We'll see. Y'all, it might be forever before I get to a relationship. Who knows? But I'll definitely will have made sure I got to where I needed to go first. And then whoever comes, they just along for the ride. That's it.
Gotcha. It's definitely a good conversation we've had. But I got one last thing. So you said it, Sierra, communication as far as cheating, and then Savannah, you said as far as trust. So I got a question for both of y'all. Which one is more important, communication or trust in a relationship? Or do they kind of just work hand in hand? That one is not more important than the other? Go ahead, Sierra.
I think they work hand in hand. Like, if you don't have trust, obviously I think trust comes with communication. So if you are already not talking to each other and something like iffy comes around, like it's not like if you don't talk about it, it's you're not going to feel better about it. it's not going to lead anywhere. Like that communication needs to be there in order for trust to be there. It's very immature, I think, and that doesn't, I don't mean that in like a negative way, for anyone to get like offended by me saying it's immature to get into a relationship, and I mean like viewers and stuff, to get into a relationship without like really knowing the person, I think.
Yeah.
And that was like, again, going back to like what I did, that was like in high school. You're like, oh, he's cute, and I'm like, yeah, let's boyfriend and girlfriend kind of thing. So yeah, it's definitely like, if you don't have that foundation of talking to each other and letting each other know how you feel, like, you can definitely trust someone if you're like that, and you have the ability to just be like, this person, I see the good in this person, like that can be there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's happened to me where it's like, I'm like that with a person and we don't know how to talk to each other, and the relationship doesn't work.
Okay. What about you, Savannah?
I kind of agree with Sierra. I think they do work hand in hand. Personally, I feel like I would put communication as more important, because I feel like trust is something that I feel like in every relationship you start off with, your basic level of trust, and over time that trust will strengthen. But I think communication is number one, because I know that in a lot of relationships that do go wrong or do end up over there, it's like Sierra said, you really just don't talk to each other. But I think a lot of situations can be avoided by just saying like, hey, I'm feeling this type of way. Or like, say you did meet somebody, just be like, okay, whatever. I know that's not as easy as a conversation for a guy to go to a girl and say, hey, I met this girl and we talked and I felt whatever. I know that's not easy because a lot of females won't know how to handle that. But I think having some type of conversation about, or I'm not feeling the same way that I used to feel, not really sure how, maybe something's, off here. I feel like I need to do something. I think people just need to communicate, because I feel like the other thing is like, you can talk all day long, because you also have that where you have all the communication in the world, but there is no trust behind it. Like, I feel like you can say whatever. But I don't know. I think if you communicate first, your level of trust in that person, it'll just continue to grow, because I feel like the more you talk to a person and the more open you are with the person, open and honest about, look, I'm feeling like this isn't working. Why is it not working? You talk about why it's not working and see, what can you two do before it? If it means y'all need to have an open relationship and see other people have an open relationship with other people, you need to go, take a break. Don't believe in breaks, but hey, if you need a break, take a break. Do what you have to do to so that you're not ended up in a situation where now you guys hate each other because you just didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you may not even get to that point of reaching, like, putting all my trust into somebody, because I think that's the other problem is like what we didn't learn really growing up was don't put all your eggs in one basket. You trust too much early on, you end up in situations, and it's like you got to let that kind of grow on its own. Don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm gonna just trust you, and don't go into it expecting somebody to trust you with all they got, because that's just not it. That is exactly where you mess up. You trust too much and you communicate less.
Definitely. Nah, yeah, both of y'all said it perfectly, because I feel the same way, because you can't trust somebody without communicating with that person first, and you can't, and the communication leads to the trust, so they definitely have to work hand in hand. So I definitely feel like both of them are important and equal rights. But do y'all have anything else to say on the topic before we head out? Sierra, Savannah?
No.
Any positive words you want to give? No?
I have no words of positive. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I always tell people, let time run its course. I mean, but know that like no situation is worth staying in, whether have cheated or have been cheated on. Like, to cheat means that there was something else going on up here, even if it was a one night thing, there is something else going on there that you really don't feel as connected to that person as you may think that you are, because if you were, you wouldn't have cheated in the first place. And now if that person is cheated on you, they are not connected to you in any kind of way the same way that you are to them, let it go. Just let it go. Like, I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but it's just like, let it go. Like, you'll feel so much better about it, because you have cases where people cheated and years later they're married now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they moved on, had to do what they needed to do and separated, and now they're beautiful, have kids. Like, just time will tell, you know. But I just feel like nobody needs to stay in something that they really don't want to be in, or they don't feel appreciated in, or they're not being appreciated in. So, look, pack your stuff and go. It's gonna be okay. Look, go get a new job, go get a new car, do whatever you got to do. It'll be okay. I mean, life is better. So
Basically, be like Savannah, get a new job, new car,
hey, boss up for real.
new outlook on life.
Some cheating situations turn out to be a blessing in disguise. So do what you gotta do.
Definitely. But I appreciate y'all for having this little discussion with me. It was definitely a good discussion, nice little long discussion, which I like. But with that being said, I appreciate everybody for listening. Like I said, this is Big Rob, aka Rob the Poet, and you may not like what I have to say, but listen with an open mind before you make a judgment. So, peace out.
Peace.